I got what you want, I got what you need. Old school kicks with a new school twist, banging on my MP3.
Alright, welcome to Crawford, Tennessee, MSXC Round 2 for the 23-24 Winter Series. This was at Cub Mountain ATV. As you can see, it was very dusty conditions starting out. It had been very dry for the last couple of weeks down here. You also might have noticed it took me a couple kicks to get the bike started, but I'll talk about that here in a second. So I'm starting in row 16, Senior C, riding the 1993 Honda XR 600R. You watched my round 1 video. I said I didn't need to make any changes to the bike, but I did. For the most part, they were good changes, but there was a couple things that I had to kind of test and tune during the race here. One thing I didn't account for was the last race in round 1 was, I don't know, in the 50-degree range, and this was 74 degrees today during this race. And I had done a jet change prior to the race and kind of tested it out in my yard here, but never really got the bike as hot as it got during this race, and it got so it didn't want to idle real well. The problem that caused me is a couple times here during this first lap you're going to see when I'm kind of lugging it around, it dies on me unexpected. Of course, this is my lap 1, and near the beginning of my lap 2, which I'm not going to show, I do pull off to the side and turn the idle up. And I don't have any more problem with that the rest of the race. This was a fun course. There was just a lot of variety. The only negative was kind of the dry and powder. Visibility was just kind of hard to see near the beginning and end of the course, but through the middle of the course it wasn't too bad. I joked with guys after the race that no matter what tires you chose to run, you made the right choice, because somewhere on the course they were going to work really good. Because we saw a little bit of mud here and there, definitely hard pack. We were riding right on the face of rocks sometimes. Soft sections like right there, so pretty much any tires worked today. I just ran my standard setup, VX40 front, VE33S rear. Both those are IRC tires. This right turn here, I almost blew every time. One time late in the race, the tape was down and I actually had to turn around and come back up the hill. Lots of creek crossings. This one here got kind of nasty as the race progressed, but no problem here early in the race. Before the start of the race, Cash warned us about 2 features on the course. One was a long hill climb at mile marker 3, and a second portion was an off-camber area after that. So I'll point those out when we get to them. Another wet creek crossing. Cut that corner off. Interestingly, though, the only pile-ups, if you will, were at neither of those features. They were at a small hill climb right after the long hill climb. I'll point that out. Jordan Ashburn, if you guys know him, he won the GNCC XC1 title last year in 22. He was actually here today in row 1. When he goes by later on. J Skinny 33 ahead of me. Follow him on Instagram. He's on a newer KTM 300XC. Unfortunately, in my last couple laps, my lens was dirty, but there was a lot of good back and forth between he and I late in the race. I ended up edging him out by one position. I got 9th and he got 10th. There were 17 in our rows, so that was pretty good, really. Another green crossing. Kept things interesting. Some of these were pretty deep. This hill here, I kind of took a moment to read the situation because I didn't want to get in one of these where there was a pile up and I got stuck halfway up, but I realized that this left lane here got me around those guys, so I took it. That allowed Jay Skinny, though, to get ahead of me because he went for it. I learned from round 1 to read the hill a little bit before I went in. One thing I did to my bike, as you can see, there's a new fender brace on the front fender. I couldn't stand seeing my front fender flop around so much. That tamed that down. That was just mental on my part. I didn't like seeing the fender flop around so much when really nothing was going on the course. It's freaking me out. So I'll talk a little bit about my jet change. My bike has the high flow foam air element. Of course, right here is a little bit sketchy. I'm not sure what they were thinking, how we were supposed to be routed through that. Yeah,
Sorry,
this is me killing it. So anyway, I have the high flow air filter and an aftermarket exhaust, but I never rejetted it. And so I kind of realized I was running an old Berlin, which is what was making it so hard to start. Now here, I'm kicking that rock instead of finishing through my kicks. That's why it's a little bit hard to start there. So anyway, I richened up the jetting, which generally made it easier to start after I got the idle set right, but I figured that out later in the race. But I ordered a jet kit from Six Sigma Jetting. You give them, your bike modifications and what type of elevation and temperatures are right, and then they give you a few things. So they had me bump up the Pilot from a 62 to a 68, and bump up the main from a 152 to 155. I did a little searching on the internet to see if that made any sense, and that's actually what Scott Summers used to run on his XR600, sometimes running a 158 main. So I did order one of those, but I'm pretty happy with how the bike is on the top end. This area here was not too bad, there was just a lot of rocks in weird places, and you just kind of had to get through it. So anyway, I tested out the jetting here and there during the week, but never really rode it, much more than 10 or 15 minutes to let the bike, I guess, get hot. And what I found out was I think I richened up the Pilot so much, and then with this hotter temperature and maybe even higher elevation, it was just running too fat, and it wasn't wanting to idle too well, so I had to adjust the idle screw, and once I did that, things fell together for the rest of the race. So happy with the jet change, but I just didn't do a proper kind of test and tune afterwards. Apologize, I got that little piece of mud on my lens right there and I didn't notice it, so we're going to have to deal with that for the rest of this lap. .600 likes to climb. I will say that. Chase down this Kawasaki. Another rocky section that just kind of was hard to maneuver because rocks were in places that didn't want them to be. I don't know if the ATVs had knocked them into the track, into the trail yesterday or what, but just a little bit tedious to maneuver, but no big deal. Kawasaki lets me go on, which is nice of him. And I kind of open it up because I hate the idea of someone letting me go around him and then I hold him up. So open it up on this hill. So I believe this is the first thing that Cash was talking about. This was the big hill at mile 3 that just kind of keeps going. Get in second gear here. And I end up having to downshift here near the top again. It's a little rough before it crests. So really no big issue there, but the issue here is coming up as soon as this pile up. Just a hard right turn and then everybody's having trouble without much run up getting up this little hill. If you pay attention up on my left, you're going to see Jordan Ashburn just kind of go up and around everybody and then up the hill. I never considered going that way myself. Trying to be patient. So you guys are having trouble up there on the right. There he goes. He doesn't care. Look at that. Another guy tries to do the same thing, but he isn't quite as smooth. He's falling down the hill. But then he makes it too. Trying to nose my way in there. I know I can make the hill, but I don't want to run into somebody, so when I get my chance, I do go though. Goes the XR 600. No problem. like I said, this is a fun race. There's just a lot of variety. A lot of it is what you would call flowy, and this bike like that. A lot of second and third gear. This is the off-camber part, so this is the second thing that Cash was talking about. I never had too much issue with it. There was a couple shortcuts like this one that kind of got you up and out of the worst of it a little bit earlier. There was an earlier one, even in this, that I don't do in lap 1, but I saw later on. So yeah, I didn't have too much trouble with it, but it was a struggle point, of course. Guy hurt his arm.
You alright? No, arm?
I bet he got tangled up with his handlebars in some of those trees. It's kind of tight through there. Speaking of handlebars, another upgrade I did since last race was I got some Oury grips, if I'm pronouncing that right, O-U-R-Y. And I just kind of did that because I wanted to switch to a Motion Pro throttle tube, which caused me to have to go to a glue-on grip instead of a lock-on grip. They didn't have the ODI. What the ones that I use are called, but they didn't have them in stock, so I went with these Oury's made in the USA, and you know, I don't know that I like them better than my ODIs, but they were good. I think they're an old brand. I think the next upgrade I'd like to do as far as controls goes is flex bars. I used to run a Mako 360 on my 252 stroke, but there's not a great way to do that on the XR because on the upper triple clamp, the lower mount for your bars is cast into it, so there's really no good way of doing a Mako. But if you can adapt to 1 1/8 clamp on your 7/8 clamps on your upper triple, then you can run a flex bar no problem. So yeah, this guy's mad at me because I stopped, but I thought he would go to the right. He didn't. So he punishes me with a little bit of dust there. This was kind of my least favorite section of the course. It was just piles of powder and dust and just kind of tight. But it opens up. So this is a 28-minute and some change lap for me. I don't think my second lap was a whole lot better because I had to stop and adjust the idle speed, and I had a little bit of trouble doing that. But then lap 3 and 4 I got down into the 26-minute range, and maybe 27-minute on lap 5. I ended up doing 5 laps. They were 6.8 miles apiece. 90s, from what I understand. I would have liked to show you my fast lap, but a couple things happened. My lens got even dirtier than it is here, and it also got kind of angled down, so you were looking at my knees even more than you are right now. It is down a little bit from how I would like it even in this on this lap, so you guys aren't able to see the full view of the landscape like I like you to be able to see, because it was really kind of a picturesque fall setting here in Tennessee. A little soupy through here, but in general this black soil was really good. Confidence inspiring. Yeah, this is pumpkin spice weather here. This gal here in Women's Expert, her bike died. She was having trouble getting it restarted. Felt like she could have pushed it down this hill and probably got it to bump start. But maybe she had a bigger problem than that. So yeah, I got 5 laps. Your A riders, like Jason Wynn, they got like 7 laps. He laps me somewhere in lap 2 and then in lap 5, doing a total of 7. I think Jordan Ashburn, the pros, I think they got like 8 or 9 laps way up there. I know they were sub 20-minute lap times, like 18-minute lap times. So every lap they were gaining 10 minutes on me, running upper 20s. This Kawasaki, I thought he was waving me by, but he was just messing with his goggles. I kind of let him get away from me here, so I gotta chase him down again. So yeah, I want to try these flex bars. I know they're kind of designed for ATVs, but again, I mentioned the channel in one of my previous videos called I think it's Fast Guys on Slow Bikes, something like that, and he ran flex bars on his XRs, and Morgan on Highland Cycles, he had flex bars on his big XR 650 that he's taken to Baja, and he moved, I think, to a Mako 360 mount, but he had different upper triple than I do. So anyway, XRs and some type of a flexible bar mount seem to go together well. The other thing I'm looking to gain out of it is my compression release levers, 7/8, and the way those flex bars are designed, I'd have a whole bunch of space on my bar to stick that compression release, and as it is right now, between the full wraparound bar protectors, bark busters and everything else, I don't really have a lot of options of where that compression release goes. Ideally, I'd like to get it where I can operate it with my thumb, with my left thumb. So you gain a lot of real estate because you got these big 7/8 pipes for both sides of your bars. Alright, the Kawasaki's letting me by. I like his vintage jersey. Again, I gotta make it worth it since he let me by. Pick up the pace here. So yeah, I found a used pair. Those are coming, so hopefully I'll have those on before next race if all works out. And then the other thing I did since last race is I've just been having a lot of trouble with the rear rim lock, the tube kind of moving in it, and I can tell because the valve stem is bent over after every time I ride it. So I added a second rim lock, which given a certain kind of tire might make the tire really hard to put on. The E33S that's been on and off the rim a couple of times, it wasn't too bad. But anyway, ran 2 rim locks and had no valve stem movement after this race. That was a good sign. So we're getting back up here into the vicinity of the start. You can tell because it's getting dusty again. This appears to be some type of motocross track, if you will, for ATVs that are part of this Cub Mountain Park. It's real flat though, it's not, no jumps. So we just kind of had to maneuver through it. There weren't any good banks for you to hit. And then they kind of piled up a couple piles of sand here for us to jump over. But I more or less roll them except this last little one. Area kind of back towards the campground was just kind of choppy and dusty again. It's kind of hard to see too far out. You know, there's trees up there. Some of the other guys are having trouble too because I'm catching them. Seconds left in the lap. Anyway, that was my round 2. Again, I got 9th out of 17. Really no better than last lap, but I think the bike ran a little bit better with my adjustments. I'm making progress. So just got to keep tweaking and getting stronger, and the results will come. So hope you guys enjoyed it. See you later.